The farm is gone next week. Let that sink in for a second. We are not talking about a sale. We are not talking about a negotiation. And we are certainly not talking about Zach or Jeremy finally taking over the legacy. We are talking about bulldozers, demolition crews, and the complete erasure of the big house. If the leaked information swirling around the darker corners of the internet and local Oregon real estate circles is true, everything we know about Roloff Farms is about to be wiped off the map. We have received insider reports and exclusive theories that suggest the for sale sign was just a decoy. The real deal is happening in the shadows, and it is terrifying. The rumor is a secret auction, a backroom deal orchestrated to bypass the family, bypass the fans, and cash out fast. And the wildest part? The one person standing between the big house and a pile of rubble isn't Matt, and it isn't Amy. It's Chris Marek. You need to stay with me because what I am about to break down changes the entire history of Little People, Big World. We need to look at the facts that have been hiding in plain sight. For months, we have watched the tension on the show. We've seen Matt complain about the maintenance, we've seen Karen hinting about retiring to Arizona, and we've seen the absolute breakdown of negotiations with the twin boys. But while we were distracted by the family drama, something else was happening on the perimeter of the property. Local neighbors and sources have reported seeing surveyors on the land. Now you might say, so what? Matt is always building something. But these weren't Matt's usual crew. These weren't the guys building a new barn or fixing a pumpkin patch attraction. These were corporate surveyors. Men in suits with commercial-grade equipment, the kind used for high-density residential planning. And here's the kicker. There were no cameras. TLC was not filming. If Matt Roloff is doing a project, he wants it on camera. He wants the credit. He wants the content. When Matt Roloff does something in silence, it means he doesn't want anyone to know, especially Amy. This brings us to the big house. This structure is iconic. It is the heart of the show. But to a commercial developer, it is a liability. It is a custom-built, quirky, high-maintenance structure that sits on prime real estate. If you are a developer looking to build luxury condos or a high-end gated community, you don't want the big house. You want the dirt underneath it. This is where the secret auction theory gains massive traction. We are hearing whispers of a pocket listing. In the real estate world, a pocket listing is a property that is for sale but isn't listed on the MLS. It's not on Zillow. There is no sign in the yard. It is marketed exclusively to a private list of high-net-worth investors and developers. It is how you sell a property when you don't want your neighbors, or in this case, your ex-wife and children, to know until the ink is dry. Let's theorize on the motivation here. Why would they do this? Why the secrecy? Connect the dots. Karen has made it very clear she does not want to live in the big house. She has said it feels like Amy's house. She wants a fresh start. Matt is tired. He is tired of the fighting, tired of the upkeep, and frankly, he seems tired of the emotional baggage attached to that land. If they list it publicly, it becomes a circus. The fans show up, the kids get involved, the media goes crazy. But a secret auction to a developer? That is a quick, clean break. They sign the papers, the developer hands them a check for millions, and the bulldozers show up the next week. Once the house is leveled, the drama is over, and we get the cash. That is the mindset we are looking at here. It is brutal, it is cold, and it makes perfect financial sense if you have zero emotional attachment to the legacy. But they forgot one variable in this equation. They forgot that Amy didn't just marry a random guy. She married Chris Marek. And what does Chris Marek do for a living? He is a seasoned real estate agent in the area. He knows the market, he knows the players, and most importantly, he hears the chatter. You can hide a sale from the public, but you cannot hide a massive commercial development deal from other real estate professionals. The rumor mill suggests that Chris started noticing things. Maybe it was a strange look from a colleague. Maybe it was a piece of mail that shouldn't have been left out. Or maybe it was just his gut instinct telling him that Matt was being too quiet. Matt is never quiet unless he is plotting. Amy began sensing it too. We have analyzed recent footage and social media posts, and there is a shift in her energy. She has mentioned feeling unsettled. She has mentioned that Matt has been evasive about the property lines and the future of the tours. Amy knows Matt better than anyone. She knows his tell. When Matt is planning a big surprise, he gets giddy. But when he is hiding something, he gets defensive. And lately, the reports suggest Matt has been incredibly defensive. When asked about the surveyors, the theory is that Matt denied everything. Just checking property lines, Amy. Just standard procedure. But standard procedure doesn't involve commercial zoning experts. Amy smelled a rat, but she didn't have the proof. She didn't have the smoking gun. That is where Chris comes in. Imagine the scene. Chris is at his office, or maybe grabbing coffee with a fellow broker. The topic of the roll-off estate comes up. Not the pumpkin patch, but the development opportunity. The other broker assumes Chris knows. After all, he's married to Amy. He's practically family. The broker slips up. He mentions the flyer. He mentions the date. "Are you going to the auction on Friday, Chris? It's going to be a bloodbath for that land." Chris freezes. He realizes at that moment that they have been played. There is no plan to keep the farm in the family. There is no plan to preserve the legacy. The plan is liquidation. This is the turning point. This is the moment the show stops being a reality soap opera and turns into a corporate thriller. Chris realizes he needs evidence. He can't just go to Amy with hearsay. She is already emotional about the farm. If he tells her Matt is selling it to be demolished without proof, it will cause World War III. And if he's wrong, he looks like the bad guy. He needs to see this pocket listing with his own eyes. According to our exclusive theories, Chris uses his network to get his hands on the invite list. And there it is. The flyer that confirms everyone's worst nightmares. Prime development opportunity, roll-off estate, invitation only. The description doesn't talk about the memories. It doesn't talk about the wedding barn or the castle. It talks about acreage. It talks about zoning potential. It talks about clearance for multi-unit residential construction. That is real estate code for condos. That is code for demolition. The auction is scheduled for 3 days from now. 3 days. The clock is ticking. The betrayal here is staggering. If this theory holds true, Karen and Matt were planning to sign this deal, take the money, and announce it to the family after the fact. "Sorry guys, it's done. The new owners take possession on Monday. We're moving to Arizona." It would have been a blindside of epic proportions. It would have robbed the twins of any final chance to reclaim their childhood home. It would have robbed Amy of the peace of mind that her life's work still stood. And it would have robbed us, the viewers, of the farm we have watched for 20 years. But why now? Why the rush? Market analysis might give us a clue. The housing market is fluctuating. Interest rates are up. Maybe Matt feels the window is closing. Maybe he needs a massive infusion of cash to fund the dream house he is building with Karen. Or maybe, just maybe, this is about control. By selling to a developer who will flatten the place, Matt ensures that no one else wins. If he can't be the king of roll-off farms, he will make sure there is no kingdom left to rule. It is a scorched earth policy. Chris Marek is now holding the grenade. He has the flyer. He knows the time. He knows the place. He rushes home to Amy. You can imagine the conversation. Amy is likely in the kitchen, perhaps cooking, completely unaware that her past is being sold to the highest bidder. Chris walks in, his face pale. He puts the flyer on the counter. "Amy, you need to sit down. Matt isn't just selling the house, he's destroying it." The shock turns to horror, and then, hopefully, to rage. This isn't just a business deal. This is personal. This is an erasure of history. But what can they do? It is Matt's property. Technically, he has the right to sell it to whomever he wants. If he wants to sell it to a condo developer, that is his legal right. Or is it? This is where the investigation deepens. This is where we have to look at the history of the land itself. Is there something buried in the paperwork? Something from decades ago that Matt has forgotten? We are going to dig into the legalities, but right now, the stakes couldn't be higher. The auction is in 72 hours. It is a sealed bid, invitation-only event. Matt and Karen think they are in the clear. They think they have pulled off the heist of the century. They are likely already looking at paint swatches for the Arizona house, clinking glasses, laughing about how they dodged the family drama. They have no idea that Chris has the invite. They have no idea that the secret auction has been compromised. And they have absolutely no idea that Amy Roloff is about to go to war. The psychological aspect of this cannot be overstated. For Karen, this is the final victory. She has been painted as the villain for so long, and in her mind, this sale vindicates her. It proves that this was just a business asset all along. It removes the physical reminder of Amy's marriage to Matt. As long as that big house stands, Karen is living in Amy's shadow. But if the big house is a pile of rubble and a row of condos, that shadow is gone. For Matt, it is about ego. He built it, he can destroy it. He refuses to let his children dictate his financial future. He refuses to admit that maybe, just maybe, he overplayed his hand with Zach and Jeremy. So here we stand. The countdown has begun. The developers are preparing their bids. The bulldozers are being fueled up. The secret is out, but only to a select few. The question is, what is Chris Marrick's play? He can't just storm in and demand they stop. He needs leverage. He needs a weapon. And as we are about to find out, the Roloff farm has secrets even Matt doesn't know about. We are tracking reports that Chris and Amy are currently scrambling, digging through old county records, looking for a miracle. And they might just find one, but they have to move fast because the for sale sign is coming down and the demolition notices are ready to be posted. Hold on tight, because what happens in the next 48 hours of this timeline is going to blow your mind. We are moving from suspicion to confrontation. The secret auction is the battleground, and the weapon is a piece of paper that has been gathering dust for 30 years. We are deep in the danger zone now. The clock is ticking down, and the silence from the big house is deafening. But while Matt Roloff is keeping his mouth shut, sources suggest that someone else wasn't quite as careful. This brings us to the most explosive piece of this entire puzzle, the smoking gun that turns this from a sad real estate sale into a calculated betrayal. We have to talk about the hot mic theory. According to leaks circulating among production insiders and audio engineers who have worked on similar reality sets, there is footage, or at least audio, that never made it to air. It allegedly captures Karen Chandler in a moment of unguarded honesty that reveals the true motivation behind this secret auction. The setting is a lunch date, seemingly off camera, or perhaps during a break in filming where the microphones were still live. Karen is speaking to a friend, unaware that the audio feed is being monitored. The quote we are hearing about is chilling in its simplicity. Once the house is leveled, the drama is over, and we get the cash. I'm done with the mud. I'm done with the memories. We take the payout and we go to Arizona. Let's break that down. Level the house. She isn't talking about selling the home to a nice family who will cherish the custom low counters and the whimsical architecture. She is talking about demolition. She is talking about erasure. This confirms the villain's plan narrative perfectly. For years, we have watched Karen navigate the complex dynamics of the Roloff family. We've seen her try to play the peacemaker, but we've also seen the side eye, the whispered comments to Matt, the subtle steering of the ship. This secret auction is the masterstroke. It solves all her problems at once. By selling to a commercial developer who plans to build condos, she ensures that the property is irrevocably changed. There is no going back. Zach can't come back in 5 years and buy the farm if the farm is a parking lot for a condo complex. Jeremy can't inherit the legacy if the legacy has been flattened. It is a scorched earth policy designed to sever Matt's tie to his past so he can fully commit to his future with her. And the motivation? Money. Quick, liquid cash. Why the rush for cash? We need to look at the financials. Matt is building a massive dream home. Construction costs have skyrocketed. Interest rates are punishing. There are rumors that the new build is over budget, way over budget. Matt loves to build big, but he doesn't always plan for the cost overruns. If he is leveraged to the hilt on the new construction, he needs a massive infusion of capital immediately. He can't wait 6 months for a traditional home sale. He can't wait for a family negotiation that drags on for years. He needs millions, and he needs them next week. A commercial developer paying for land value offers exactly that. A fast closing, a cash offer, and zero inspections of the house because they are just going to tear it down anyway. It is the perfect storm of greed and desperation. But they made a fatal error. They underestimated the power of the pocket listing gossip chain, and they underestimated Chris Marek. While Matt and Karen are likely toasting to their future fortune, Chris is currently executing the most high-stakes reconnaissance mission of his career. He has the flyer. He knows the auction is happening at a private luxury hotel conference room in downtown Portland, not at the farm. This is a common tactic for high-value commercial auctions. Keep it neutral, keep it professional, keep it away from prying eyes. Chris knows he can't just walk in there and cause a scene without ammunition. He needs a silver bullet. He needs something that stops the sale dead in its tracks. Screaming, "This is my wife's memories!" doesn't work in a commercial real estate auction. Money talks, liability talks, zoning laws talk. Chris sits Amy down. You can feel the tension in the room. Amy is devastated, tears streaming down her face as the reality sets in that the big house, the place where she raised 4 children, the place where she filmed 20 seasons of television, is days away from destruction. But Chris shifts the energy. He tells her, "Amy, think. Think back to when you bought the land. Think back to the divorce settlement. Was there anything at all, that restricted what could be done with that specific plot?" Amy wipes her eyes. She starts to think. She goes back 30 years. She remembers the early days of the farm, back before it was an empire, back when it was just a fixer-upper and a dream. She remembers the county giving them trouble about the original zoning. She remembers Matt fighting with the Historical Society. And then a light bulb goes off. "The easement," she whispers. We have to dig into the concept of a historical easement or a restrictive covenant. These are legal landmines buried in property deeds. Sometimes, when you buy land that has historical significance or agricultural protection, the county puts a restriction on the deed. It says you can farm it, you can live on it, you can even build a pumpkin patch on it, but you cannot subdivide it into high-density residential units. You cannot build condos. These covenants travel with the land. They don't disappear just because the owner changes. If such a document exists, it is the kryptonite to the developer's plan. If a developer buys that land thinking they can build 50 condos, and then finds out a week later that a restrictive covenant prevents them from building anything other than a single-family farm, they lose millions. The land becomes useless to them. They will pull out of the deal faster than you can blink. But here's the catch. Matt might have forgotten about it. Or worse, Matt might be hoping the developer doesn't notice until it's too late. Matt is a risk taker. He plays fast and loose. He might be banking on the fact that the original paperwork is lost in a basement somewhere. This triggers a frantic search. We are talking about a scene straight out of a thriller. Chris and Amy aren't sleeping. They are tearing apart their own records. They are driving to the Washington County Clerk's office the moment the doors open. They need the original deed from 1990. They need the specific rider that details the land use restrictions. The suspense is unbearable. If they can't find the paper, the farm is gone. If they find it, they have a weapon. The theory suggests that after hours of searching, looking through microfiche and dusty binders, Chris finds it. A faded document signed by Matt and Amy 3 decades ago, granting a specific agricultural easement to the county in exchange for a tax break. It explicitly states, no multi-unit residential development permitted in perpetuity. There it is, the smoking gun. Matt took the tax break back then, forgetting that it would handcuff him 30 years later. He sold his right to build condos for a discount on his property taxes in the 90s. Chris holds the document up. This is it. This is how they stop the bulldozers. But simply having the document isn't enough. They have to present it at the right moment. If they call Matt now, Matt might try to find a loophole before the auction. He might try to bribe the county. He might try to delay. No, they can't tip their hand. They have to deliver this news when it does the most damage. They have to deliver it in front of the buyers. This brings us to the infiltration plan. The auction is invitation only. You need a paddle. You need a bank letter of credit proving you have millions of dollars just to get through the door. Chris doesn't have that kind of liquidity. He can't register as a bidder. He has to get in as something else. Using his network, the theory is that Chris pulls a favor with a fellow broker who is on the list, a commercial broker friend who owes him one. Chris arranges to attend as the broker's consultant. It's a risky move. If security recognizes him, if Matt sees him before the auction starts, they will be thrown out. The night before the auction is grueling. The atmosphere is thick with dread and adrenaline. Amy is reportedly a wreck, oscillating between anger at Matt's betrayal and fear that their plan will fail. She feels foolish for trusting that Matt would ever protect the legacy. She realizes that to Matt, the farm is just an asset on a balance sheet. To Karen, it's an obstacle to be removed. Amy is the only one who sees it as a home. And Chris? Chris is the soldier. He is focused. He is reviewing the legal language, rehearsing what he is going to say. He knows he only gets one shot. If he stammers, if he gets the legal jargon wrong, the auctioneer might ignore him. He has to be authoritative. He has to command the room. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, we imagine Matt and Karen. The contrast is sickening. They are likely calm, confident. Karen is probably packing boxes, mentally already in Arizona. They believe the secret auction is watertight. They believe the NDA keeps the family out. They believe the pocket listing keeps the public out. They are arrogant, and their arrogance is their weakness. They haven't done their due diligence because they assume they are the smartest people in the room. They assume Amy is just the emotional ex-wife who will cry about it later. They have no idea that the emotional ex-wife is coming for them with a legal sledgehammer. The morning of the auction arrives. It's a gray Oregon day. Rain threatens the sky. Chris and Amy dress not for a farm day, but for business. Amy puts on a blazer. Chris wears his best suit. They look like buyers. They look like sharks. They drive to the hotel in silence. The tension is palpable. This is the biggest confrontation of their lives. It's not about pumpkins anymore. It's not about who gets the big barn. It's about stopping a demolition. They arrive at the hotel. The lobby is quiet. They see the signage. Private event, Ballroom B. Security is tight. There's a list. Chris's contact, the broker friend, meets them in the lobby. He looks nervous. "Chris, if this goes south, I lose my license," he whispers. Chris nods. "It won't go south. We're just here to clarify the terms of sale." It's a lie, of course. They are there to blow up the sale. They approach the check-in desk. The security guard looks at the list. He looks at Chris. He looks at Amy. There is a moment of hesitation. Does he recognize them from the show? Amy is unmistakable. But in a business suit, out of context, maybe she just looks like a wealthy investor. The guard checks the name of the broker friend. "And these are your associates?" the guard asks. "Yes, my consultants," the broker replies. The guard stamps their hands. They are in. They walk into the ballroom. It's silent. Rows of chairs. Men in expensive suits whispering. And there, at the front of the room,